So this is my Obsidian vault. I have over 1,000 shorts that I've analyzed, 500 long form videos. I've studied competitor data, founder stories, topic intelligence, format anatomy, and all in one place. All searchable, all synced to my phone for just $5 a month. And this is the vault that changed how I work. But to understand why, you need to see what I was dealing with before. So here's the diagram. Everything you just saw earlier, that's my second brain. Every piece of research I've ever done, organized, searchable, and shared across every AI tool I use, both Claude Code, OpenClaw, and my phone. Same data, same source of truth. But 6 months ago, it was a total mess. And let me show you. Like, here's what happened. I'd been building different types of automations for months. I had 20 plus crons and OpenClaw, multiple databases, Notion setups, the whole thing. On paper, it looked great, but in practice, data was just everywhere. It was just scattered, like you see on this diagram. I had a SQL database in my automation platform that I just couldn't see, be invisible. They existed, they stored data, but I just had no way to browse them, audit them, or even know if they were accurate. I asked my OpenClaw how many competitors do we have? Sometimes it nailed it, sometimes it wouldn't, despite having multiple databases supposedly tracking that exact thing. So the reality is you can't maintain what you can't see. And I bet there were zombie databases in my setup that I didn't even know existed. Databases that some automations created months ago, rotated a few times, and then just sat there, collected dust, maybe with stale data, maybe with the wrong data, no way to know. I'll just give you an example. Like, I had a cron that would dump Reddit or topic ideas from Reddit or X into a database. But then when it came to generating content, I would have a way of coming up with ideas without having to think too much. So in theory, on paper, it sounds good. Right? Your OpenClaw is collecting database, or even Claude Code is collecting data points throughout the week, dumping into this database, but you have no way of seeing it. Right? You can set it up on your Mac Mini, a different device, and it just lives somewhere else. You don't really see it unless you log into your laptop or remote connect somehow and then view the data there. But if you're just talking on Telegram, there's no way of seeing what it does. All you would say is generate a few topic ideas based on whatever we have on the database. Sometimes we would get hits, sometimes we would get duplicates. Sometimes I'll get the same ideas. Sometimes the data would become stale. And then many times it just felt overwhelming because I was like maintaining this thing I couldn't even see. And to be quite frank, I don't even know how many databases I have at this point because it's just invisible to me. And at this point, I don't really care because I don't need to do that anymore. I just store them all in Notion in a single directory that syncs across all my devices. So for Claude Code, whenever I make any updates, it just drops it there and it syncs across all devices, meaning my OpenClaw as well. OpenClaw does the same thing. If I find an article, I clip somewhere and it adds it, it all syncs across all the devices. So that was the situation. Data in 5 different places, no way to audit it, no single source of truth. And then I saw something that Karpathy posted on X, and that caught my attention. Andrew Karpathy is the guy who led AI at Tesla. He co-founded OpenAI. He published his idea about a second memory, not a chatbot. And that was on X. And so when I saw that, it was not a database. It was a personal wiki that scales, kind of like your own search engine that's tailored to you with specific topics you care about. And when I read that, I thought that's exactly what's missing with me. Not another database, not another automation, a central brain that lives in one place where everything else is secondary. The concept was simple. I have one vault, markdown files, organized by topic. Everything reads from it. Everything writes to it. No more scattered databases that can't talk to each other. So then I built it. And all I did was I went to Karpathy's repo, and all I did was copy and paste this to Claude Code, and we got to work. I built it with OpenClaw first, and then I just took it to Claude Code, which for me, it's easier to manage. But the cool part is I can manage them across both OpenClaw and Claude Code, and we're all looking at the same thing. And once I built it, let me show you what it looks like. It's just this. I mean, it's just a bunch of folders organized. Let's say if you've ever done any research, and let's say you're studying competitors as a content creator, right? You're going back and saying, okay, I need to study these 50 or 100 shorts. I want to understand how to create better hooks. And so you're going to get these 50 to 100 shorts from different creators. You're going to study them and say, okay, what are the patterns? Because you want to come up with better hooks for your YouTube shorts or long form or whatever, or TikTok, whatever you're doing. And you can do that once and then build a prototype agent in Claude Code and then maybe get to somewhat good output. But if you ever wanted to refine in the future, you'd have to start in square one. Even if you saved your research, there's going to be a lot of raw data. And so what gets dropped in here is sort of like the polished version of that. Like, you don't just get raw data because that's just not going to be so helpful, right? You get something that's organized. Like, it's organized by not just format, but like when it was last updated. You don't want just raw data. You want to get the actual insights. And so that's what that is. You can build upon that. So now if you want to, let's say you want to continue with your open claw, you can say, hey, look at the wiki. What do we say are the best practices for hooks? Can you QA my current hook? It can give you the same output or very close to the same output as if you were to go on Claude Code and ask the same question, because you have that single brain, that single source of truth, and you no longer have to start from scratch on your research. And anyway, one something that really blew my mind is that, you know how you would Google what are the best business ideas or the best things that I should be doing, or whatever question you have for your business or context, instead of just going to Perplexity or Google, you can now go to your OpenClaw or Claude Code and say, hey, go to the wiki and search all the insights and give me a response to this question that I have based on all the data we have, right, on X topic. And then all of a sudden, you're going to get a more tailored response versus just going online and starting from zero every single time. It's like this knowledge base that keeps compounding the more you use it. So this is sort of the structure. You see knowledge, operation, you can name it whatever you want, really, but it just has the three ideas. The first one is knowledge, and this is the production brain. So let's say you do YouTube research from hundreds of videos, competitor analysis, content strategy docs, topic intelligence, format anatomy, what makes a good hook, what makes a good short, what patterns top creators use. All of that is distilled, all tagged, searchable right here. The second one is operations. So you think API documentation, system architecture notes, how things are wired together, the technical backbone. And then finally, raw. This is one of the most important ones because this is where you're dumping a lot of the data. Let's say you install the Obsidian web clip, which I recommend. And let's say I'm going on X and I'm like, oh man, this is interesting. You just go to extensions. I'm using Arc. You just use this and then clip it. So you add to the Obsidian, it automatically adds it to my clippings folder. So it drops it in here. Nothing is here right now. But when it does add it, I'm just collecting data on the fly. And anything that comes in starts here. So like a tweet that I saved, a screenshot from Obsidian Web Clipper, a note you just jotted on your phone, it all lands in the raw folder. And so why does the raw matter? Because that's basically the biggest friction with any knowledge is your input. If you saving something takes more than 5 seconds, you're not going to do it. Raw removes all that friction. You just dump it, don't think about it, don't worry about it, and just get it in that folder. The organizing happens automatically, which brings up to the nightly cron. Think of it as a job. It can run in your OpenClaw, which is mainly what it pertains to. It can be a Claude Code agent or a skill. It's basically something that looks at the raw folder. It reads each item, figures out what it is, tags it properly, and just moves it to the production folder. So if you recall one of these two, it'll move it there properly and store it. And so it goes from knowledge. So either it goes to knowledge competitors, or if it's a technical note about API, it goes to operations. A random screenshot of a YouTube analytics dashboard just gets processed and filed under knowledge YouTube research. And so the Obsidian Web Clipper just makes it easier for you. So that's just the pipeline. You capture anything that gets dumped into the raw folder. You have a nightly job or cron that just processes everything for you. But I need to be honest about what went wrong for me. All right, so look, here's what happened. I didn't build the wiki first. I should have, but instead I would just spend months building, 20 plus crons and with an OpenClaw that just dump data into scattered databases, and then Notion table, SQL databases, random JSON files, and then I try to organize it after the fact. And that's backwards. If I did it again, I'd build a central brain first and then connect everything to it from the start. Instead of building 20 crons that dump 20 different places, you build one vault and have all 20 crons dumped to one raw folder. Think of your Obsidian vault as a place where it's the one source of truth, the final polished data. Anyways, the migration was painful, and I had to go through all the old databases, figuring out what was still relevant, what was stale, what was just wrong. Some of the research from months ago, competitor lists, topic ideas, was outdated. Honestly, I just consolidated a lot of it and just skipped a lot of it as well. And here's the thing that nobody talks about. More data does not mean a better brain. Early on, I was just dumping everything, every article, every tweet, every video, and the vault gets noisy really fast. So the breakthrough was switching from add more to enrich what already exists. So the next time I do research, I don't just dump a fresh pile of data here to my second brain. I compare it to what's already there and then enrich it, update it, right? Enrich the existing entries. That's a completely different approach, and it just keeps everything clean. So that research that I was talking about, it gets enhanced over time as I learn new things, and it's something net new. So now let me show you why this matters. I studied over 500 YouTube shorts. I analyzed hooks, formats, topics, what worked, what didn't, hundreds of data points distilled into actual intelligence, not raw data sitting in a spreadsheet, but distilled patterns that you can act on. And so that matters because as someone who's trying to win on social media, and if you post on social media, you're trying to win as well. You're trying to understand what gets views, what topics to talk about. That's what has helped me anyways, because in the past, like I just feel like I always would start fresh. Like every single time I wanted to improve, or let's say I did a lot of research one day with Claude Code or OpenClaw, I would try to refine my YouTube short strategy or even long form. And maybe a week or two from now, I would want to go deeper because maybe the topics aren't performing how I thought. Maybe I just want to change strategy after a few weeks, and I would just start all over again every single time. And not only is that token efficient, but it just feels like you're always starting from zero and you're always just like heading in a different path. So with this way, you get the first input, you do it once, you go thorough, study hundreds, dozens of shorts of whatever data point you're trying to study. You get the distilled intelligence, you organize it in your second brain, and then a week or two from now, this is where it gets interesting because you're no longer going to just start blind every single time. You can actually tell your Claude Code, hey, does this hook look good? Can you look at the wiki and look at our learnings? All of a sudden, it reads a single markdown file with insights versus having to search the web on random articles that probably aren't even good sources to begin with. Or it just starts from zero and you got to sit there for 30 minutes starting what you did already before, maybe even going backwards in your research. So you can actually build upon the research that you already did last week or whatever time ago. So it just saves you time, not just from building perspective, but having your OpenClaw or your Claude Code just to act in a more aligned way with the research that you have. That's the research side, but the real payoff is what happens when your AI tools can read this. Both Claude Code and my automation platform, OpenClaw, can now read the same vault, same data, same source of truth. So when I ask either one what topics are trending in our space, they're pulling from the same research. They're not going to get conflicting answers. And if you've ever heard about OpenClaw, you know that the benefit that it has is the compounding context. Well, now that's starting to matter a little bit less because now you have this brain with like an authority that acts like an authoritative data source. The cool part is that Obsidian Sync also keeps the whole thing accessible on my phone. So for $5 a month, that's the total cost. Obsidian itself is free, but the vault is just markdown files. There's no vendor lock-in. If the Obsidian disappears tomorrow, I'd still have the folder and text files that any tool can read. But if you want that accessibility on your phone, maybe you want to QA it, you want to ask a better question, you want to just use search on your Obsidian or just look at some data point, you can actually look at it on your phone, which I think is pretty cool. All right, let me show you how to build this yourself. So step one is going to be to install Obsidian, completely free. If you need to sync across devices and you're just going to have to pay the $5, it's really low barrier. But if you don't really want to pay that, I mean, there's probably other workarounds with iCloud, or you can figure out, you can just Google it. Knowledge for your brain, operations for technical docs, and raw just for everything else. And then step three, and this is the most important one, start using the raw folder immediately. Install the Obsidian web clipper. So every time you see something worth saving, such as like a really interesting X tweet, like I saw from Karpathy or from whatever research you follow a lot, just clip it. And then it'll automatically drop it in the, well, in my case, it drops it in the clippings folder, but you can build a system that drops it in the raw. Because I clippings to me is raw as well. You just got to make sure your system treats both the same and it looks at those both folders and then takes the data. That's all you got to do. Don't organize it, don't tag it, just capture it and then build that habit first. And then step four, set up a nightly cron. If you're using OpenClaw, if you're using Claude Code, you can do a scheduled automation or even just running yourself manually every week. Just create a simple Notion reminder and just really ask Claude to do it for you. So every Sunday, you're going to spend about 20 minutes, maybe even 10. Maybe you don't need, depending how much data you dump. And you're going to just have Claude Code move things to the raw folder, from the raw folder to the right folder. And so either way works. You can also do it manually, which is going to be more time consuming, but I recommend this is where you leverage AI and just let it do its thing. And then step five is you point your AI tools. The biggest lessons from all of this is just build the brain before you build the automations. I did it backwards and paid for it in hours of migration work. The vault could be the first thing you set up. Everything else connects to it. Karpathy published his vision. I built the implementation. And the thing he didn't tell you, the mainest is the hard part. Not building it, maintaining it. The enrich, don't dump principle, the nightly cron, the discipline to actually use a raw folder instead of just bookmarking things and forgetting them. But once that clicks, once you have that brain that actually remembers everything that every AI tool can access that lives in your phone for $5 a month, you won't go back. You can't because you remember what it was like before, the scatter databases, the zombie data, the how many competitors do we have, and getting different answers every single time. This is the fix, and it costs $5 a month if you want the sync, or just free if you want to keep it local. And if you want to see more systems like this, subscribe. I'm sharing everything I build as I build it. See you on the next one.